Hey YouTube, it's Peisuke here, and today I got a brand new video for you guys once again. This time I'm going to be doing another FIBA World Cup video, and you guys really seem to like the last one that I did like a week or two ago about this, so I thought I'd go ahead and make an update one now that we're well into the actual playoffs of it. And I think the semifinals are about to start by the time that this comes out, so yeah, this is like perfect timing because we're about to end it. And yeah, I'm pretty much just going to be discussing things that actually happened, things that I was wrong about, things that I was right about in my last video, and then also going to be going through my predictions for the next 4 teams that are going to play the semifinals. And it's a game between Australia and Spain, and then Argentina and France. So yeah, we're going to get to all of that, and then also obviously talk about some players and how they've been doing, like Giannis, Nikola Jokic, who, by the way, spoiler alert, he hasn't been doing all that great, or, he hasn't really gotten much of an opportunity at all. But yeah, other than that though, let's go and get straight to it. So Spain was one of the teams that I ended up mentioning in my last video, and honestly, I was definitely right about them. I thought that they were going to be really good in the World Cup with some really solid role players. You had the two Hernan Gomez, you also had Marc Gasol, and then you also had Ricky Rubio. So I was, definitely confident in them, and they then ended up doing really good. So yeah, I mean, Spain is definitely doing very solid. They're about to go to the semifinals versus Australia, so best of luck to them. And now let's go and move on to the other teams that I also mentioned in my last video with other NBA players and how they did as well. So Serbia was another team that I mentioned in that video, and they definitely have been doing very well, even though they ended up getting knocked out by Argentina very recently. But anyways, let's go ahead and get into some of their very, very solid players. You got Bogdan Bogdanovic, not Bojan for Pacers fans out there. It's not him. It's the other one from the Kings. And he did super, super well for them. He averaged 20 points. That's crazy. And his efficiency was absolutely amazing too. His three-point percentage was at like 50 plus. Like, that's insane. And then you also had Nikola Jokic, who I thought was more interesting because, you'd expect him to be the best player on the team, but he actually didn't get all that many minutes in the first place. You look at his points per game, it was only like 13. His efficiency was really good, but he just really didn't get all that many minutes. I think that might have been like something that they agreed on when they got him on the team. Like, oh, we don't want him to play too many minutes because he has to, carry such a load in the Nuggets, next year. So that might have been a thing, but yeah, they definitely did very well. So as you probably seen in the thumbnail, France ended up beating the US, and I want to quickly just talk about both of their teams before we go ahead and get to the losing side of things. So yeah, honestly, I didn't put the US in the losing side of things, and my reasoning for that was because I actually kind of predicted this in the first place. I thought that we weren't going to be all that good. Our team was definitely not as good as years before. We usually have a whole bunch of superstars and, some stars here and there in the bench. But this time we just had a whole bunch of like up and coming stars and role players. So, we weren't all that much better than everybody else. So I really just expected us to lose, honestly, against France. And you could definitely tell that a lot of French players had just that mindset, like Rudy Gobert. He probably wanted to beat Donovan Mitchell, to get bragging rights or whatever. I'm sure that's not the reasoning, but, that's just an extra. So, yeah, I mean, honestly, France just went off on them. They ended up beating them. Rudy Gobert completely destroyed Miles Turner, as much as that hurts me to say because I am a Pacers fan. But anyways, though, there's really not much to say about that. I can honestly just talk about the U.S. real quick. I do think that Donovan Mitchell and Kemba Walker were pretty solid. They were supposed to be the two main options, and then they ended up doing that. The U.S. just really didn't have any like real specific player to go to. It was always just like a team effort, and sometimes you kind of need that hero ball type mentality. We definitely needed that in the end of that game against France. So as far as France, I definitely think that Evan Fournier was really good. You know, obviously Rudy Gobert came up big to them against the US, but for the most part he was just kind of okay, you know, in the cup before that. And then you also had Nicolas Batum, who was pretty solid. And they actually have a French player called like Decolo, something like that. I'm not sure if I'm saying his name right, but he was really good for them. So yeah, definitely a bonus, just you know, addition right there. But anyways, though, let's go and get to the losing side of things as far as like who I predicted was going to be good and they ended up not being good. This should be pretty fast. I'm literally just going to speed dial through all of these teams. So first of all, we have Lithuania. I did predict them to be really good. You know, they obviously had two very good big men in Jonas Valanciunas and then also Domantas Sabonis. And obviously, I'm very biased here because I am a Pacers fan. Like I said before, Sabonis is very good in my opinion. So yeah, I definitely had a bias right there, but they obviously underachieved. They ended up not making it out of the second round, I believe. So yeah, just a very, you know, solid going for them, I guess. They made it out the first round and they were just destroying some teams here like left and right, but yeah, it just wasn't enough for the actual knockout stage. So yeah, next we have Germany. Germany didn't even make it out of the first round, which I was really surprised by. You know, you had Dennis Schroeder, who played really well for them, actually. But other than that, they really didn't have all that much production here and there. So, yeah, they ended up not making it. And then you also had Greece, who made it out of the first round but then didn't make it out of the second round. They actually played the Czech Republic and they needed like a win with 12 plus points. Ended up winning by like 7 or 8 points, so they were just short of making it to the knockout stage. And it's really sad for Giannis, honestly, but yeah, it is what it is. They ended up not making it, and we're not going to get to see Giannis until next season. But yeah, anyways, next we have Italy. Italy, I did have them being, you know, a very solid team. They had a lot of just solid role players. And then that one guy, obviously, who's like a step above a role player, who is Danilo Gallinari. So yeah, I mean, I predicted them to be pretty solid. That was pretty much what they were, but maybe like a step down from that. So yeah, other than that, just not really all that impressed with Italy. Anyways, though, that's pretty much it for that part of the video. I want to actually talk about what's going to happen in the future and just my predictions for this semifinals that's about to go on tomorrow. So yeah, let me go and get straight to it. So the first game will be between Argentina and France, and I already talked about how impressive France has been, but let's go and talk about Argentina. So Argentina's been literally carried by Luis Scola, and if you don't know who that is, he played in the NBA a pretty long time ago, like maybe 5 years ago or so. But yeah, he actually was a Pacers player, so that's pretty much how I know about him. But anyways, he's literally 39 years old right now, and he ended up actually getting like to 611 something points. He might have more now since he played, I think, Serbia after that game and then another team as well. So anyways, he's around the 600 range right now, and the man is like the second most point getter, or he has like the second most all-time points in the entire cup. So that's pretty crazy, and he's 39 years old and he's still doing this, so that's just insane to me. So Argentina's definitely been a sleeper. I didn't expect them to make it this far at all because they literally have 0 current NBA players, so that just proves that you really don't need, you know, certain NBA players or anything to be good in the cup. You just gotta have the fundamentals. So yeah, anyways, that's it right there. If I had to predict it, honestly, I'd have to go with France just because, you know, Rudy Gobert, I don't think he's gonna let Luis Scola score on him all that much. You know, he's just a defensive player of the year. So yeah, I don't think that's really going to work out for Argentina. And then you also have France with a whole bunch of other scoring options. So yeah, I definitely would take France right there. But let's go and move on to the second game. So next we have Australia versus Spain, and I actually just figured out that I forgot to talk about Australia separately, like all of their players. So we're going to go ahead and do that in this part of the video because I'm an idiot. But anyways, let's go and get to it. So first of all, Australia literally has the probably MVP of the whole thing in Patty Mills. He's literally been the third most point getter in the whole thing, and he's literally averaging 50, 40, 90 right now. And that's insane. You know, maybe he can keep that up, and if he does, that'll be really impressive. But anyways, though, Patty Mills, I'm really excited for him. You know, I watch him on the Spurs all the time, so it's pretty cool to see him actually get like a bigger role on a team. But then, you know, they also have Joe Ingles, Aaron Baines, who's been doing really good for them, and also Matthew Dellavedova. So it's a very solid team right there. And yeah, next we have Spain, which I've already talked about. So I'm pretty much just going to say the names again. So you got Marc Gasol, Ricky Rubio, and then, you know, the two Hernan Gomez. So yeah, two very, very solid teams. If I had to predict one, I'd probably go with Australia just because of how good Patty Mills has been. So if he can continue that, then I definitely go with them. And then that would mean I'd have France versus Australia. And at that point, I'd probably have to go with France, I'd say, just because of Rudy Gobert, to be honest with you. You know, I don't know if Aaron Baines can really take care of him down low. So, yeah, I'd have to go with France. But, you know, it really just takes Patty Mills to, you know, get going. And Australia could honestly just beat any other team out there. So, yeah, anyways, though, make sure you leave a like on this video. Subscribe as well. Comment down below what you think. And predict who you think will win the whole thing. Anyways, though, I'll see y'all boys out.